Chapter 5. The Seal Below. The unnatural heaviness in the air has lifted, and though townsfolk still speak in hushed tones, there's a thread of hope where there once was only fear. The village has already begun to breathe easier. After procuring travel supplies, you make your way through the gently darkening streets and back to the cathedral ruins, where torches now flicker at the perimeter. Several Mirthvale guards in travel-stained gear are combing through the fallen masonry and cracked tiles with lanterns and prodding poles. One of them looks up as you approach and quickly stands straighter. "Lady Aetherwind," he says with a small bow. "We've just finished our second sweep. No sign of the two missing persons, but—" He gestures toward a partially cleared alcove near what used to be the main vestibule. "We found something odd. Come see." You're led to a crumpled side chamber where a section of floor has been pried up. Beneath it, a narrow crawl space is revealed. A faint, fetid draft flows from within. "We found fresh claw marks near the entrance," the guard explains, "and scraps of fabric. One of the missing townsfolk was wearing green homespun matching this." He hands you a torn, blood-flecked swatch of cloth. "We've hesitated to send anyone in. We don't know what else might be down there." As you peer into the darkness of the tunnel, your tail twitches instinctively. Something still lingers in the space below. Whether it's wounded victims, a lurking horror, or something in between, you're not yet sure.
I kneel at the tunnel's edge, staff held loosely in my lap as my eyes flutter shut. The corrupted energies once so thick here have thinned, but not vanished. I steady my breath and focus, casting my senses out like ripples across still water.
There, a flicker. Two, in fact. Faint, as though buried in fog. One is closer, weaker, fading. The other, deeper still, pulses with a strange rhythm, as though life is being drawn away with every heartbeat. Something about it buzzes against your awareness, like a harp-string plucked too tightly. Then, just for a moment, a whisper brushes the edge of your mind.
"Help! Please!"
The voice is strained, barely more than a breeze, but it's there. Alive. And you feel one more thing. The faint metallic tinge of traps, magical and mechanical both. Someone did not want this crawlspace to be discovered. Or returned from.
"Send for Cobb and Elira," I instruct the guard. "I need his size and her magics." I consider calling the others, but realize that Brannick is too large to enter this space, and Talanis is busy arranging for tomorrow's journey.
The guard nods sharply and hurries off, boots thudding against stone as he disappears up the slope toward the surface. You remain at the tunnel mouth, the stale air nauseating in its stagnation. Though cramped, the passage looks to have once been part of an older structure. Crumbling stone, soot-stained and overgrown with vein-like moss that pulses faintly in your etheric vision. The scent of mildew and something older, something ferrous, clings to the air. Within 10 minutes, Cobb comes bounding over the rubble with a grin on his face and a set of odd-looking lenses strapped to his head.
"What sort of traps are we talking here, Captain Cadence? Spikes? Snares? Temporal entanglement? Ooh, I've always wanted to see one of those!"
A moment later, Elira arrives more carefully, her staff already glowing with detection runes. She glances at you, then at the tunnel. This reeks of concealment magic and blood ritual. I sense at least one curse ward woven into this tunnel. She furrows her brow. But I think I can unravel it, if you can keep Cobb from poking it with anything volatile. Cobb grins and slowly hides a metal stick behind his back.
With concern, I suggest, I think it would be prudent to work together to dispel the malevolent magics. They feel stronger than those below. Turning to Cobb, I add, after we have dispatched this curse, I'll need your expertise in checking for and disarming mechanical traps. I'll follow you in to provide healing and backup.
Elira nods, stepping beside you and aligning her staff with yours. Together, then. Focus with me on the ley line beneath this place. It is frayed, but not broken. If we reinforce it, we may draw off the ward's power. Behind you, Cobb mutters,
You magic folk are so dramatic. I love it.
He watches intently, twiddling a small set of tools between his fingers like a conductor's baton. You and Elira raise your staves together. Her voice becomes melodic, matching the cadence of your own incantation. The energy between you begins to resonate, threads of soft blue and lavender aether weaving from your respective magics into the moss-veined stones. At first, the resistance is strong. The ward is not just protective, it's angry. Together, you push deeper until...
Zoom!
The air pulses like a plucked string. You feel the ward snap, its unholy tension released in a blast of musty, stagnant air. The moss fades from violet to gray. The way ahead is open, magically. Elira exhales. That was not subtle. If there is something down there, it knows we are coming. Cobb immediately steps up, peering through his lenses.
Alrighty, now that the fireworks are done, let's see what this place has in store, shall we?
He crouches and begins carefully probing the entrance and its interior, floors, walls, ceiling, with deliberate movements and an occasional sniff, click, or twinge of some gadget he pulls from his pouch. After several tense moments, Cobb re-emerges and gives a curt nod.
Pressure plates down the center. Classic spikewood trap. Nasty, but mechanical. Easily avoided if you stay along the wall. There's also a trip line near the arch about a foot up. Almost invisible. Triggers something behind that grate.
He jerks a thumb at a small slit in the wall that you hadn't noticed.
I disarmed it. You're clear to go.
Wary of the traps he didn't disarm, and my 2 left feet, I request for him to accompany me for further help. Cobb, I trust your eyes more than mine. Please lead the way and tell me where to move, I say as I guide Aether to surround our bodies, enclosing us in a protective sheen. Elira, wait out here as backup. I'd feel better knowing you could come if we scream.
Cobb grins up at you with a cocky salute.
With pleasure, oh white-haired wonder. Stick close, but don't crowd me, unless you want a face full of spikewood.
He takes point, crouched low, lenses flicking into place over his eyes as he moves with calculated, reckless abandon. His boots avoid specific tiles by the slimmest of margins, and every few feet he taps the wall or waves a small wand made of coiled copper wire to test for new traps. Behind you, Elira stands ready. I will listen for the scream, she says with a wink and a grip on her staff. The small tunnel heightens as you move deeper, soon allowing you to stand. Its stone walls are lined with faint engravings, most chipped or worn away, but a few catch the light of your glowing staff just enough to see symbols of binding and containment. Someone sealed something in here. You pass the disarmed trip line, the pressure plates, and approach a worn wooden door. Cobb gestures for silence and tests the handle.
It's not locked,
he whispers.
But there's tension. Like the next room is pressurized.
Your aether senses confirm this. The air is heavy with unspent magic. Something potent, and recent. Just ahead, you feel the flicker of 2 life forces, weak but present.
I consider our options for a moment. I could attempt to dispel the magic, but it might go catastrophically wrong with only one person channeling the aether. It would probably be better to have Elira join. But then there's the 2 life forces on the other side, and they're getting weaker by the minute. They might not have time to wait. Making my decision with uncertainty tight in my chest, I turn to Cobb. Cobb, I need you to go back. You'll be quicker than me. Go get the others. Brannock can guard the exit for us. Lead Elira and Talanis back here. There's something sealed in there along with the energies of what I think are the missing townsfolk. We might need to be ready for a battle.
Cobb turns to you with a grave expression, his usual smirk tempered by the weight of your words.
You got it, Cadence. I don't like the taste of the air in here anyway. Too still.
He rests a hand briefly on your arm.
Don't open that door without us. You're good, but I know that I'm about to do something noble and stupid. Look. Don't make me come back to a bad memory.
Then he pivots and dashes off down the corridor, the light from your staff chasing after him in diminishing glimmers until he's swallowed by the bend of the passage. You're alone now, save for the dense aether and the 2 weak life signatures pulsing faintly beyond the door.
I sit cross-legged in front of the door, laying my staff carefully next to me. I want to rush in and save those people before it's too late, but I know breaking the seal alone could get even more people killed if the entity within were to escape. Slowly, deliberately, I take a deep breath in, then out. And then again, concentrating deeply, communicating with the elements for the battle to come as I meditate. During my meditation, I reach out more deeply, testing the aether lingering in the air, searching for clues to aid in the upcoming encounter, monitoring the weakening life forces.
The moment your eyes close and your breathing evens, the elements wrap around your senses like a gentle tide. Aether flows more freely through your body, and the fatigue from your earlier efforts begins to ebb away, the quiet hum of energy refilling your well. The room itself is unnaturally still. Your inner senses sharpen. The aether here is dense, not wild but compressed, as if coiled under pressure. A heavy, tangled knot of dark aether washes over you, oppressive and ancient. This isn't like the sickness below. This is sealed wrath, as though a malevolent entity was confined here, not to be cleansed but contained. Protective wards linger here as well, surprisingly fresh, as though cast quite recently. You recognize hints of a school of warding magic not taught at modern monasteries, designed not only to hold back, but to draw power from within the seal to feed its own strength. It is clear now. Something is sealed not merely within the room, but trapped partially outside of this reality. And that something knows you're there. As your awareness gently rises back to the surface of consciousness, you hear footsteps echoing down the corridor. Cobb is returning with more than one set of boots.
I explain the dangers in detail to everyone when they arrive, the thick, sickening aether, the protective wards, and the overwhelming sense of malice pressing against the edges of the room. I understand if anyone doesn't wish to take part in this fight, I say quietly. But if we open this door and fail, it could affect the whole realm. So, no pressure. I manage a weak smile, but my stomach flips as I go on. There are 2 flickering life signs inside. Someone will need to reach them fast and stabilize them. At the same time, something is feeding on them, or guarding them. We'll need a distraction. I look to Talanis first. I'm not sure physical weapons will help much in there. You and Cobb focus on the survivors. Cobb, Do you have any healing potions you trust? I shoot him a look. If you can stabilize them, Talanis might be able to carry them out to Brannock one at a time. Finally, I glance toward Elira, trying to steady my voice. I'll try to draw the creature's attention. You and I will banish it. Together.
You feel the group's tension sharpen into readiness. Talanis crosses her arms, her dark braid glinting faintly in the light of your staff.
I won't lie, Cadence. This isn't what I expected. This is bigger than one cursed village. If you're right, this thing was locked away for a reason. We can't let it loose. I'll get them out if I can.
Cobb adjusts his goggles, their lenses gleaming faintly as he rifles through his bag. He pulls out 2 vials with elegant copper trim.
These are good. My own brew. Less likely to make you hiccup.
He grins briefly, then sobers.
But we'll only get one shot at this. If it breaks free before we're ready...
He doesn't finish the thought. Elira steps forward, her eyes shimmering with latent magic. That seal is complex, she says softly, placing a hand near the frame of the door. If I had to guess, it was meant to contain the entity while feeding its power to something else at a distance. We will need to force a rupture and cast simultaneously. I will weave the lattice if you can channel the purge. She draws a sigil of cleansing in the air, a perfect complement to your own style of magic, rooted in divine script rather than the elements.
I reach forward, joining my hand with Elira's, connecting our magics.
A resonant hum blooms in the air. The blade-carved runes around the sealed wooden doorframe flare to life, one after another, like watchful eyes blinking open. Elira meets your gaze and nods once. On 3, she begins the count aloud, steady and calm. 1.
I channel the energy of the elements into my palm. The lavender glow of my aether fills the tunnel with a palpable pressure.
2. Elira raises her other hand, tracing her divine sigils in midair. The air crackles with opposing currents, earth's rhythm and starlit blessing, wild pulse and holy glyph, elemental and divine, working in tandem. 3.